What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Maverick Raven coming at you with another video, and we're going to be doing a reaction to Money Game Part 3 by Ren. This is an ongoing deep dive that I've been doing into Ren. Thanks to you Renegades for hooking me on him, and I'm a Renegade now. What can I say, New Renegade, but still. Trying to get as many reactions out as I can based on what you guys want, of course. But I was told that this one in particular was really something special. It seems to be the favorite of the trilogy from what I've read from you guys. And I think this is the video that shows that he knows how to play the piano also. And from what I've read from you guys, supposedly he taught himself how to play the piano himself and the guitar, right? Talk about genius. Anyways, we're going to get to this video, but before we do, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. All that stuff really helps out the channel. We'd love to see you be the newest member of the flock. The flock is for life, so come check us out, guys. We'd love to have you. The air is for everyone. Let me get my cans on. Here we go. Again, I mentioned this in my previous video. I'm a little under the weather, so bear with me, guys. All right, here we go. No. Gotta laugh, bro. Gotta laugh at it, bro. He is just so crazy good. Music is what he was meant to do, bro. That and obviously be a decent human being, which thank God for that. Dude, I don't know. I don't play the piano. Never even got lessons. But I would imagine that it takes a long time to be able to perform. I don't know. Maybe? But it can't help anything that you got a mask on. A burlap sack by the looks of it. That can't help anything. That's crazy. That's a sick beat. The mask's a little see-through, so okay, but still thick. He's such a showman, dude. Like he just woke up to it or something. And I knew it was him just because of those rings, dude. But is this still him playing on the piano, or is it somebody else actually, for it? That he got for it. I'd be interested in knowing that.
Light me tell you a story about a boy named Jimmy. 1 year old and his first words were mine, mine, gimme. 2 years old he was walking, 3 years old walking quickly. 4 years old he was running round the pavements of his city. 5 years old and his daddy told him, listen here son, you gotta learn to be a man. A man, he works for what he wants. 6 years old and he's reading, writing, top of the bunch. And when he's 7, his progression made him student number 1. 8 years old and he's praised for unusual grades. 9, his parents paid for private school to nurture the flame. 10, 11, 12, 13, he ascends and ascends. His daddy tells him, son, money is the means to all ends. 14, solving complex mathematical equations. At 15, IQ 150, still elevating. 16, he develops complex software code that detects weaknesses in cybersecurity protocols. 17, and he sells his vision, keeping the share. Not yet an adult, but he's practically a millionaire. 18, and his daddy tells him, now you're a man. This world don't give a damn about you, so take all that you can. 19, he turns...
Damn. I think that it's a dad's role to help you get healthy limits on what is acceptable and not acceptable behavior, and attitudes like not quitting, you know, never giving up. Things like that are important, but I really gotta kind of feel bad for the kids who had, whether it's a mom, a dad, or both, basically tell you that the only thing that's important is money. That sucks, man. Like, that's not even the most important thing. Yeah, money gives us things, it gets us things, and you need money, of course. But when you are so busy or stressed out that your life has become about money, I just don't get it. I don't get it, dude. And if that's the way you want to live, and if that makes you happy, I mean, as long as you're not hurting anybody or victimizing anybody, it's still just such a... It wouldn't be the way I would want to live, you know? And I tell my buddy that all the time, because he works his ass off, and that's all he cares about, you know? But that was such a cool sequence. We're going to run it back a little bit.
Equations at 15, IQ 150, still elevating. 16, he develops complex software code that detects weaknesses in cybersecurity protocols. 17, and he sells it.
And actually, while we're at it, I really am interested in knowing if he's the one playing the piano or if he got someone else to do it, because this part is like superb piano.
Vision, keeping the share. Not yet an adult, but he's practically a millionaire. 18, and his daddy tells him, now you're a man. This world don't give a damn about you, so take all that you can. 19, he turns a profit, stocks and shares, invest in product. 20, double down deposits. 21, his income rockets. 22, he learns that truth is just an obstacle to wealth. If you manipulate the data, then the lie will sell itself. 23, a life of luxury, crystal and cocaine. 24, he makes the Forbes list, they're applauding his name. 25, and his daddy tells him, listen here son, while you're sitting in that palace, that don't mean that you won. 26, a business shift, he switches business to arms. He's 27, dealing nuclear and shells in Iran.
Holy shit, that took a dark turn. Damn, Ren, I wasn't ready for that. Oh.
Crystal and cocaine. 24, he makes the Forbes list, they're applauding his name. 25, and his daddy tells him, listen here son, while you're sitting in that palace, that don't mean that you won. 26, a business shift, he switches business to arms. He's 27, dealing nuclear and shells in Iran. 28, inside the Senate, money bought him a seat. He's 29, a role of counsel in the president's suite. Now he's 30, his daddy says you're losing the race, you're just a servant to the king, not even in second place. 31 a big maneuver for his daddy's approval. Moving imports over borders from the exports out of Cuba. 32 moving grams, growing kilos to tons. He's 33 filling warehouses with powder and guns. 34 turf war with nobody to stop it. Blind eye from the po-po inside of his pocket.
Gonna run that back. I am interested in hearing who's on the phone, but that was such a good sequence. The whole song so far has been crazy.
31 a big maneuver for his daddy's approval. Moving imports over borders from the exports out of Cuba. 32 moving grams, growing kilos to tons. He's 33 filling warehouses with powder and guns. 34 turf war with nobody to stop it. Blind eye from the po-po inside of his pocket.
I love what he does with his voice there. It's adding a little bit of fun to a heavy track.
35, he gets the call. I'm sorry, son, but it's your father. Had a heart attack, I'm sorry, he's gone. 36, getting pissed up, abusing his product. 37, eyes glazed, disposition demonic. 38, with a prostitute, a moment of passion. Heating up a silver spoon and then chasing the dragon. 39, getting reckless and hungry for power. Daddy's words are still driving him to kill and devour. Makes a move against the cartel, but the strategy's flawed. They retaliate and leave him in a hospital ward. A bullet buried in his vertebra and one in his leg. The doctor sighs and says, I don't think you'll be walking again. Fuck.
Damn. Even darker turn.
Let me tell you a story about a boy named Jimmy. He was 40 and he cursed the words, mine, mine, gimme. 41 he wasn't walking, 42 not walking quickly, 43 never running round the pavements of his city, 44 inside a palace with a mountain of gold. But those riches turn to rubble when perspective evolves, weighing heavy on his conscience.
The string quartet definitely adds a hint of gravitas to this part of the song. It's sad, man. It's sad stuff, dude.
He was 40 and he cursed the words, mine, mine, gimme. 41 he wasn't walking, 42 not walking quickly, 43 never running round the pavements of his city, 44 inside a palace with a mountain of gold. But those riches turn to rubble when perspective evolves, weighing heavy on his conscience is the value of gold. Lamborghini for a life, trading money for souls. Jimmy followed the code inside the land of the free. Put your hand inside the cookie jar, take more than you need. And his example is exaggerated versions of me. And it's a version of him, and it's a version of she, and it's a version of you. There's no escaping the blame. The way we live is parasitic. Fuck the money and fame. Call the music.
That was interesting.
This isn't entertainment. This is real life. The way we live is lunacy, community, it declines. Hyperpolarized, always fighting, then we divide. Truth is less important than the money that we designed. Money's an invention. Politics from our invention. They all come from people's ideas. Did I mention? Border's an invention. Law and order fuel the tension. It leads to people killing each other. My solution? everything is subject to change. We could build utopias if individuals were taught to use their brains. But if we teach kids in schools to always be sheep and put themselves before the herd if there's more money for me, then there's no future I see where the humans survive with parasites inside a petri dish with cannibal minds. Mold will grow upon the surface then consumes till it dies. And our fate could be the same without this story to the wise. "45. Jimmy comes home out of the rain, soaking wet upon a wheelchair, drinking again. He is everything he wants, he is fortune and fame. He's a fortunate fool with an unfortunate fate. With a 45 caliber aimed at his brain. 45 a fitting number cause his age is the same. Here's the words of his father, it's such a damn shame. Then he presses on the trigger of a money game.
Wow. Wow. That gave me goosebumps, dude. It's sad to know that that's something that people go through. And I wish that it wasn't like that because I agree with you. Greed is greed is a motherfucker, bro. Greed. When is enough enough? You know, and that value. Kind of ironic that I use the word value, right? But that type of position that you need more money, gotta have more money, gotta have it. If you become an addict to that, that's a form of addiction too. You know, making whatever type of money you make and then being angry that it's not what you want it to be at or whatever, that's an addiction too. You're just chasing a different type of addiction. I think most people, for the most part, that chase money are after the things that they're addicted that money gets you to, you know. But dude, that was moving. Inspirational young man, dude. Inspirational young man. Um, I'm not sure if I liked it better than part two though. It was sick. It was definitely like a makes you think type of situation, right? Yeah, yeah. I especially admired how he was able to go in and out of not genres, but it seemingly like he creates his own genres, really, right? So you gotta, I mean, that's just one of the things I love about Ren. Honestly, you never know whether you're coming or going, and it works. It's not it sounds chaotic, but it really isn't. It's just his creative vision is not on brand with what most people would say is normal. And I say that with air quotes because what is normal? You know what I mean? Like what is normal? But to define normal, I guess you'd have to be saying what, like average or whatever. Like, but no, because then there are people that will not adhere to that definition of normal. So I don't know. Like I've said before, I'm content with my life, not because of money or anything like that. I'm content because of my family. You know, that's the most important thing in my life. And as a Christian, right, God is supposed to be number one or whatever, but my family to me is is more important than my religion. You know, I just love my family, dude, and that's not something that is easy for me to say. That's not something that's easy for me to admit, but I'm sure there's going to be Christians out there that, if they're honest with themselves and whoever else, they'll say, well, yeah, my family is more important to me than God. And I've heard the argument said that, obviously God should be the most important thing in your life because he's the standard for morals and all that. And then the argument goes back to, well, do you need a supreme creator to designate what's right and what's wrong? And I've heard on, and I'm not saying this just because I'm a Catholic, but I've heard some pretty convincing arguments from a lot of Christian apologists, basically making the argument that you need the Bible to be able to know right from wrong, because otherwise it's just man putting up the right versus wrong, and who are we to decide that? I mean, we can't even decide on something like abortion, for example. We've got people that, for example, in the United States, we have people that they believe that abortion is murder, and because of that, they believe that to prevent the slaughter of innocents, it's okay to bomb an abortion clinic and stuff like that. I don't think you fight violence with more violence. It's that old adage of an eye for an eye leaves the whole world blind, or what have you. And yeah, man, yeah. But this song definitely made me think a lot, a lot. And I think that that's probably what Ren wants for us. He wants us to come to our own decisions, and he's just telling us how we think and the backings as to why he feels that way. And I get it, dude. I get it. It's not easy, but you've got to be morally consistent whenever you say things. And I'm not saying that Ren isn't. I'm just saying, for people that are going to watch this video and they think that they don't have to reevaluate anything because they're in the right and they know they're morally right and logically right and everything else. Well, dude, I'm an older guy, and I still think, and I recheck myself, and I still am open to almost anything. I'm not gonna shut you down just because you've got an opposite opinion of me. I want to hear why you think that way. And it just kind of sucks because we used to be that used to be what was normal, right? Being able to have a conversation, argue, and then just eventually laugh about it and go back to basically wanting your country or your community or whatever it might be to get ahead. It sucks that we're not there right now. It sucks that that the world, I guess, is at a spot where we need more cohesion than ever, and we're not getting it. Um, yeah, man, a lot to think about. A lot to think about. I love this track. This track was great. I can see why you guys feel so strongly about it. I really do. I'm gonna try to take a break. Probably hang out with you guys in the premiere. But I need to take a little bit of a break, get some fluids in the old system, and see if I can, finish off strong and get into money ties. Because that's, like I think I said this earlier, that some of you guys think that that's like the unofficial money game 4, part 4. So yeah, we're gonna get to that hopefully a little bit later. But guys, thank you so much for hanging out. I love you guys. I love hanging out with you guys. I legitimately am interested in hearing your takes, hearing what you think. So use the comments section. Sound off below and let me know. Also, let me know what else you might want me to check out, whether it's Ren or not Ren. I got to get back to doing some Chris Webby also. But yeah, man, this was a tough one to listen to because man's got some points, bro, and I really didn't disagree with anything. I think that some people that live only for money, I think that works for you, for some people. I mean, And if that works for you and you're not hurting anybody, you're not victimizing anybody, bro, I don't like that type of existence. I think it's probably a shallow existence, because I think that the greatest thing a person can do is have a family. But that's that's just from me and my experiences, and basically becoming a more complete person because of what having a family has done to me. It's changed me in a lot of ways for the better, man. A lot of ways for the better. I still have problems with impatience, and I've gotten a little bit better because of it, of my family. So yeah, you guys. But that's all for me, at least for right now, anyways, right? So thank you so much, guys. It's always good to hang out with you guys, and as always, stay safe and stay based.